Well, good day. I hope that your day is off to a fantastic start. And let's get one more thing that we need to get going on here. Um, Hopefully. And boom, man, we should be there. Good afternoon. Hope that your day is going fantastic. Today is Friday. Happy May Day. One of the things, interestingly, that happened on May 1st in 1913, President Herbert Hoover officially dedicated the New York Empire State Building. He actually pressed a button from the White House that turned on the building's lights. But of course, that was just a gesture. It was symbolic because the president was in D.C. and someone in New York City flipped the switch to the Empire State Building. Also on this day, just a few years ago, my nephew Daniel was born. So I want to say happy birthday to my nephew Daniel. I hope that your day is absolutely fantastic and that things are going great for you. I learned from him yesterday. He works for the Uber people. And I discovered that apparently many people, higher paid people in the Uber organization or Lyft organization, are going to be relieved of their duties. This pandemic is worldwide and is certainly impacting negatively everybody. A little bit of good news about 100 registered clinical trials around the world seeking a treatment for the COVID-19 virus are taking place. An Oxford lab is set to test a coronavirus vaccine on more than 6,000 individuals, and it should begin by the end of this month. Welcome to May. If all goes well, the first new million doses could be available by September. Of course, governments and private companies throughout the U.S. are ramping up testing capabilities. Walgreens, Walmart, Rite Aid, and Kroger are all working with federal government to expand testing, and of course, CVS as well. CVS plans to be able to process up to 1.5 million tests a month by the end of this month, the month of May 2020. The global pandemic has caused America's stocks to log its best month since 1987. So here we are, May 1, 2020. Despite the horrible economic data, the markets have really been propped up by big tech, like what we're doing right here, able to broadcast from anywhere in the world, maybe the privacy of our own office or home or what have you. And so big tech has been propping up the stock market as well as the Federal Reserve doing its share. Another 3.8 million Americans applied for unemployment benefits last week, bringing the total jobless numbers in the last 6 weeks to 30.3 million, meaning about 20% of the entire labor force in the United States is out of work and possibly paychecks. And I don't know about you, but it has certainly impacted my business here. And quite frankly, I have applied for unemployment benefits to assist me through this time where the bills continue to come in, whether that's business or personal or both. And yet I cannot make any money. And I've been denied. Thank you, Governor Ralph Northam, and whomever it is that you've put in charge, probably with their PhD degrees that are still getting paid. I and other people who don't have the money are being given the bill by you, sir. And I say this respectfully, to pay when we don't have the freaking money. Corona lockdowns have forced about 263,000 stores, count it, 263 stores to close, potentially causing more than 100,000 to permanently close by the end of 2025. That, according to UBS. J.C. Penney, Neiman Marcus, and J. Crew may be getting close to bankruptcy. Macy's said yesterday, however, that it plans to fully reopen all of its stores in the next 6 to 8 weeks. So in the next month and a half to 2 months, they'll be reopened. Simon Property Group, the largest owner-operator of malls across the United States, says it plans to reopen 49 of its properties in 10 states that are going to be lifting restrictions, including Texas, Indiana, Georgia, and Missouri. Shoppers can request when they go into these malls free masks, hand sanitizer, temperature checks, and they're strongly to encourage to wear face coverings and to keep their distance from other shoppers while in the mall. Simon Properties Group says that their staff will perpetually sanitize food court tables, escalators, doorknobs, and electronic directories and elevator buttons. And mall operational hours, they're going to be limited to allow for overnight deep cleaning, despite the fact that, according to a recent poll, 45% of consumers say they plan to avoid shopping malls and shopping centers even after restrictions for COVID-19 are lifted. Speaking of cleaning the Big Apple, the MTA subway system, which has lost nearly 100 of its own employees during COVID-19 because of COVID-19 related fatalities, they're going to begin closing down from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. for nightly cleanings in an effort to thwart New York's battle against COVID-19. Interestingly, politicians are involved in this matter, where ridership has fallen more than 90% since the city went into lockdown mode. New York's Mass Transit Authority recently received, now you got to listen to this, New York's MTA, okay, their Mass Transit Authority recently received $4 billion with a B, as in boy, dollars in federal aid that's billed to you and I, my fellow American citizen patriots, but says its revenue losses are projected as high as $6 billion. And so it's asking for more. I say, what the? You want more? What the? Okay, here you go. As the U.S. Treasury is really out of cash on hand, NASA has selected U.S. firms SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Dynetics to develop landing systems that are going to carry astronauts to the moon's surface in upcoming Artemis missions. Will someone please tell me why on earth politicians are sinking more and more money into going to the moon when so many legal U.S. citizens, families, and businesses are on the brink of bankruptcy in our nation? Please. What is wrong with the people in Washington, D.C.? And though many people, families, and businesses have continued to lose and have lost huge amounts of money, at Amazon, they've made $75.5 billion. Again, B with, as in boy, $1 billion, beating revenue expectations with earnings coming in at $5.01 per share. $4 billion. That is Amazon's estimated second quarter operating profit, all of which Jeff Bezos claims is going to be spent on coronavirus-related expenses like testing. And as Amazon and big box retailers such as Target, Walmart, and other vital businesses which remain open are making money hand over fist, American Airlines posted its first quarterly loss since emerging out of bankruptcy in 2013. So here we are, 7 years later. They say they've lost $2.2 billion, again, B with a boy, dollars. And of course, we the people have been handed yet another huge bailout bill for the airlines. WTX are we doing spending money sending people to the moon at this juncture in America's financial history? It makes zero sense. New data shows that the European Union is in its worst economic slump since World War II. The European Central Bank's president, Christine Lagarde, says, quote, the euro area is facing an economic contraction of a multitude and magnitude and speed that are unprecedented in peacetime, unquote. The UN's trade and development body has called for 1 trillion. That's more than a billion. 1 trillion, T as in Tonka, Tommy, $1 trillion in developing nation debt to be canceled, forgiven, wiped away to help the countries cope with economic impact of the pandemic. What's going to happen with individuals? Our political people in Washington, D.C., and all the state capitals and the cities. People who can't pay their bills, you're going to shut their water off? People who can't pay their mortgages, going to take their houses away? Where are you going to help them? I've been denied twice. Unemployment personally and a small business administration loan. Tell me, where is the help for the small business people? My so-called representation in Washington, District of Columbia. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson said yesterday that his country is past the peak of the coronavirus pandemic and that he's going to issue a plan next week on how to restart the British economy, reopen schools, and allow people to return to work. Across America, people have cabin fever. They're going out, and in some places like California, North Carolina, and Michigan, and right here in Virginia where I am, the police state is rising. How long do you believe that legal U.S. citizen patriots are going to allow the police state and politicians to financially rape and fine us while we, the people, are exercising our constitutional rights to move about freely. By the way, there's an upcoming, hey, let's get together session down on the boardwalk in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I encourage you, take your masks and your gloves and be part of it. Honor social distancing. Let people know that just as China has apparently done for a year because of their smog situation, God only knows, they may have been playing with viruses and releasing those to test on the people. We don't know. But we do know this, that the communist Chinese government is not honest in its dealings. It doesn't tell even the World Health Organization, which probably most likely is governed and ruled by and run by William Gates, commonly known as Bill Gates. Do you expect truth from any of these people? Any more than you expected truth from Jeffrey Epstein, who hung himself? That's the true story, according to people in New York, where he committed suicide. Allegedly. In Virginia, Attorney General Mark Herring said this week that Virginia officials will accept absentee ballots without a witness signature. And he claims the agreement will protect public health amid the coronavirus pandemic by not forcing voters to break social distancing orders. Herring's decision is the result of a lawsuit filed by the ACLU, which filed a lawsuit challenging the state law that requires a witness signature. Who do you think is behind that? I get the emails. Michelle Obama, Barack Obama. He still goes by Attorney General Eric Holder. He's not the Attorney General anymore, just so you know, and has not been, though he continues to use that title. He's not been for over 3 years. We're told that this agreement in Virginia will only apply to the June 23rd election. People with a little more sense are fighting the ACLU in court over their attempts to delegitimize elections. And just yesterday, the federal court granted the Republican Party of Virginia the right to fight to protect ballot integrity. And of course, naturally, Democrat Governor Ralph Northam and Attorney General Herring are fighting these efforts. These are the same people that believe that birthing a baby and letting it sit there on a table and expire is okay too. Either that or cutting it up in uterus and then sucking it out. You can thank Planned Parenthood for that and all those wonderful people who appreciate life. Not. Remember this, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be before the Son of Man returns. Thank God for a few people, whether it's the Supreme Court or whether it's local or state courts, that are standing up for the Bill of Rights and the Constitution of the United States of America. Because on Monday, a Lynchburg judge ruled that a Virginia gun range must be allowed to open to customers despite Governor Ralph Northam's statewide executive order requiring non-essential businesses to close due to the coronavirus. But the judge defended federal and state protections on the right to bear arms, which he said outweighs any emergency act that Governor Ralph Northam makes in an effort to order the gun ranges to close. With all due respect, several gun rights groups filed a lawsuit challenging the governor's executive order, demanding that he called quote unquote non-essential businesses to close, which included, of course, Second Amendment rights businesses. Attorney General Mark Herring says his office is analyzing the judge's decision. What you going to do? What you going to do? Broadcasters large and small across the country have been laid off or furloughed. The businesses have furloughed employees. Not only is it Lyft or is it Uber, but big broadcast entities like Entercom and iHeartRadio. And I usually do the broadcast, The Fight for Freedom, from Freedom 1110. WKQAradio.com is their address in Norfolk. But about a month ago, I was told that due to social distancing, for the protection of everybody's health, that we were not going to do the broadcast, that people would not be coming into the studio anymore. So here we are today. But nevertheless, broadcast entities are blaming the coronavirus for Advertisers canceling their orders, resulting in financial duress to broadcasters across the country. That includes small people like Freedom 1110, locally owned facilities, as well as large corporate broadcasters. So please reach out to your politician in DC and tell them to support local broadcasters who actually deliver live, vital local information to residents of the communities in which they serve and are licensed. You know, I love Duran in the morning. However, in New York City, it's lovely to find out what's going on with Duran, or maybe with Seacrest in Los Angeles or wherever he may be. But you know what's really more important is to know what's going on in the area in which I live. And only that can be delivered by live local people. In Washington, sit down for this one here. You're going to love this one. Democrat Representative Ilhan Omar, AOC of Minnesota, has introduced a measure that would dismantle Americans' property rights. Her Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act proposes stripping people of the right to control their own property and would allow for another massive government expansion. It would cancel all rent and mortgage payments, regardless of income or employment, for the duration of the coronavirus pandemic. The bill would create full payment forgiveness with no accumulation of debt for renters or homeowners, and no negative impact on the credit rating or rental history of individuals and even businesses. Omar's proposal includes creation of a fund to fully finance the purchase of private rental properties by nonprofits, public housing authorities, co-ops, community land trusts, and other state or government organizations, entities, and things. Coverings for the deep state, in my opinion, in order to increase the availability, they say, of affordable housing during this downturn. Opponents of the legislation say that if the bill were to pass, and I am one of those who opposes this bill vehemently, private property rights of owners will be undermined, and the police power of government bodies throughout the nation, local, state, and federal, will all expand as a result of this. Please stand up to this foolishness, my legal American citizen patriots. According to Reuters, job losses have begun to affect essential businesses, and personal incomes fell 2% in March, just, over a month ago, bringing a loss in buying power for most American consumers. As individuals, families, businesses, and the U.S. Treasury are just out of cash on hand. Yesterday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the Democrats are considering including as much as $1 trillion, that's with a T as in Tommy, or tank, in state and local government aid in the next COVID-19 coronavirus economic relief bill, saying states have $500 billion, as in B-boy bill, states have $500 billion in costs they need help with, and municipalities and local governments have asked for comparable amounts of federal aid. Yesterday, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, the sane one, said that he's not interested in borrowing money from future generations to send down to the states to help them with their bad spending decisions they've been making for years, centuries, decades, unrelated to the coronavirus epidemic. So they're trying apparently to use this pandemic to pay their bills. At the same time, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy met with President Trump yesterday, saying that his state needs between $20 billion and $30 billion. Murphy said yesterday, quote, "We need a significant amount. This is a big hit, and this is to allow us to keep firefighters, teachers, police, EMS on the payroll, serving communities in their hour of need," unquote. What about the hour of need for people who, like me, have been putting groceries on credit cards and then not making any money? We still have to pay the credit card bills. My fellow American patriots, it is time. It is beyond time to drain the swamp. Pull the plug on that cesspool of idiocy. I beg you, I implore you, I plead with you, please, my fellow American citizens, when it's time to vote, whether it's local, state, or federal, please Vote for people with a semblance of sanity, sobriety, and sensibility, because I fear that the United States of America is at a teetering point socially and economically, a point at which could be the point of no return if we go the wrong way. Despite all this, I yet hold on to hope, and I pray that you do the same. Prayer changes things, and I say to you, as I'm doing, pray, hold fast to the truth that this too shall pass, and as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be before the Son of Man returns. Get ready, get ready, get ready, as T.D. Jakes said years ago. Get ready. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. One nation under God, with liberty and justice for all.